the atmosphere. He's built the stratosphere and the galaxy. And yet, out of all those things He's created, He chooses to be in the worship of His people. Can you imagine that God would come and instead of watching the falling star, or instead of watching the planets in the atmosphere, that He would come down to your room or your living room or your church and your prayer closet and just bask in the presence of His praise? The title of my sermon this afternoon is Fight for It. Fight for it. The word fight means a conflict, to get into a scuffle, a conflict, to be at odds. But you got to fight for it. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 6. Verse 11. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 11 and 12. But you, O man of God, flee these things and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, gentleness. Fight the good fight of faith. He says, fight the good fight of faith. You got to be a worthy contender today, church. We just celebrated the 4th of July, the birth of the United States of America, which I believe is the greatest country in the world. I believe that at any age and at any time you can become whatever it is you want to be. You can go back to school, or you could be a factory worker, or you can get your pilot's license, or you can get on the internet and be Google smart. I'm Google smart. Amen. I just Google it. Amen. Google smart is not the same as college smart, so stay in school. Amen. 1776, the United States was born. I put a little caption underneath that says, if you don't fight for it, you won't value it. If you didn't earn it, you won't value it. If somebody gives it to you, you won't treat it as good as if you earned it. The greatest thing that I think that can happen to us here in the United States is a war. It's for us to get down and have to fight for our freedom. For us to get down and have to fight for something worth it. To be able to come back home and say, I fought for this right. The problem with the United States of America is we're spoiled. We have everything at our fingertips, and we don't have to fight for anything. We don't have to fight for nothing. And it reflects in our relationships. And it affects the way that we raise our children. And it affects the way that we work as an employee. It affects the way that we are as children. Because we haven't earned it. It was just handed to you. This freedom that we have, you know, they call the generation that fought in World War II the greatest generation. But when the United States was born, so many people died fighting for the freedom that we get to embellish today. If you put a soldier and a prisoner in the same room, they will have the same attitude towards freedom because they fought for it. If you ever see somebody coming out of prison, or if you ever get to talk to somebody that fought in a war, they will have the same attitude towards their freedom because they fought for it. Have you ever had to stand before a judge and fight for your freedom, and argue for your freedom, and delegate for your freedom, and put your freedom in the hands of a DA, or put your freedom in the hands of a general, or put your freedom in the hands of a sergeant, or put your freedom in the hands of your partner, and hope that it comes out in your favor? But a soldier and a prisoner, they understand their freedom. They enjoy the little things. They enjoy the little things like being able to shut the bathroom door. That's a blessing. I don't know if any of you have ever been to jail, but they don't have doors on your bathroom. If you've ever been a soldier in a war, you don't get to say, time out from the war, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Time out. You go to the bathroom. You have to fight for it. Today, salvation is free, but you have to fight for it. The problem is that we're so spoiled, and that we just go with whatever feelings that we feel like. If we want to do this, then we just go ahead and do that. If we don't want to do it, we just go. I remember when I was younger and I got my first job, I was so afraid to call in sick. I was so afraid to be late because I didn't want to be, yelled at. I didn't want to be embarrassed. And now I won't even show up, man. By 10 o'clock, they realize I'm not coming. Because I've abused that right, and now it's so hard to find a job. But we got to fight for it. Let's go to 2 Timothy 4:6. I want to show you something really cool here, because God has made you soldiers. God has made you warriors, and He's picked out the most stable. He's picked out the most able bodies to come and serve in His army, to come and fight in His war. 2 Timothy 4:6-8 says, "For I am already being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Finally, there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me on that day, and not to me only, but also to all who have loved His appearing." Let's go back to 7. "I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith." What is the good fight? What is the good fight? What is it that you are fighting for? What is it that you are struggling for? What, in today's society, we just go from relationship to relationship. 50 years ago, 40 years ago, divorce was just totally unheard of, because they would fight for that relationship. They would fight for that person. And today, I think, with the way that TV is and the way that society is, it's just okay to give up and go to the next one. It's okay to quit your job and go to the next one. It's okay to just move on and go to the next one. And we don't really sit in a situation and fight for it. And today, I want to give you an attitude of a warrior. I want to give you an attitude so that you can understand what's really going on. What is the good fight? What is the race that you are in? Have you ever been in a competition? Have you ever been in a race? When you start running and you got people running next to you, and you're running, and your goal is to hit the finish line, that's it. In the middle of a race, you don't stop and go to the snack bar. In the middle of the race, you don't stop and change your shoes. You got to prepare for all that before the race starts, because once the race has started, you can't stop. But today, I think we stop. Today, I think in the middle of our race, in the middle of our fight, in the middle of our battle, we just stop. We give up. We crawl into a ball. We crawl into a corner. We fall into depression. We fall into hopelessness. We fall into suicide. We fall into all of these things because we really don't want to get up and fight the good fight. You got to get, you know what, coming here to church on Sundays is a struggle. We got to start getting ready hours before church starts. Well, I do. I got a house full. We got babies and teenagers and wives and husbands and daughters and sons and only 2 bathrooms, and they're small, and it's a fight. But we get here to church and we put our clothes on, our church clothes, and we drive over here. And today we went to leave, and Darren's tire was flat, and I almost had to stop for gas. And I was like, man, this is a struggle. This is a struggle to get to church. But now that I'm here and I heard the music and I'm glad that I buckled down and said, we're going to get to church no matter what happens. Because this is a fight, man. This is a war. And I'm a soldier and I'm a warrior. And whatever obstacles the devil puts in front of me, I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to time out. I'm not going to tap out. But I'm going to keep fighting, and I'm going to keep going forward, because I need to hear a word today. I need to hear from God. Can you say amen? Amen. Well, what is the good fight? Let's go to James chapter 4. I want to show you this. This is really the meat of it. Really the meat of what I'm trying to say. Every day's a battle, family. Every day you gotta get up, you gotta pull yourself up, you gotta look in the mirror and say, you know what, today's gonna be better than yesterday if I gotta believe it myself. Today, I'm smarter than I was yesterday. Today, I'm stronger than I was yesterday. Today, I'm better than I was yesterday. You got to really have this self-confidence. You really got to have that. You got to understand that your Father God in heaven is the King of kings and Lord of lords. Yet he has a one-on-one relationship with you. And whenever anything comes in your way, you can always go to your Father in heaven. You don't need to pick up the phone. You don't need to run somewhere. You just need to just fall right there and say, God, I need your help. I know I'm a warrior. I know I'm a soldier, but this battle's a little tough today. And if you can help me just punch through, if you can help me just get through today, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. The problem is, and I think the problem with me is that I try to solve all my problems in one day. I'm already worried about the rent for next month, the next month, and the next month, and instead of worrying just about this month's rent. I'm worried about my kids and my grandkids. I'm worried about where their jobs are going to be. I'm worried about if the grandkids are getting taken care of. I'm worried about, the vehicles. I'm worried about the oil change and the tires and the plates and the insurance and the windshield's cracked and the neighborhood is bad and the neighbors don't like me and I live next to a witch and all these crazy different things. A real witch. I mean, it's like a witch. No, she's a real witch, man. She turned me into a frog. I think she's put a bald spell on me, amen? But I'm fighting through it. So, James chapter 4, verse 7. Therefore, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. See, when you're resisting the devil and he will flee from you, that's a battle, man. A battle to resist the devil. You have to fight that. We're doing this fast right now here. The leadership is doing a fast where we're fasting sugar and salt. No sugar and no salt. That's a battle, man. I look at the salt shaker and I just want to tell him how much I miss him and how much I love him. I want to just hug that little girl with the umbrella on the salt shaker, the little girl, and it's raining salt on her. You're so lucky. We had pozole yesterday, and I couldn't put salt in it. It's a tragedy. But it's a battle. But I want to win this battle. I want to fight the good fight. I want to finish the race. At the end of every day, I say, I did it. I didn't give in to temptation. I didn't give in to the devil. I resisted him. I resisted him. And though I'm tired, and though I'm beaten down, and I'm downtrodden, I still did it. I finished. I fought it. I made it. And I got through today. Can you say amen? Verse 8, draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. He's saying, come closer to me. It says, draw near to God first. And then it says, then he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Being double-minded is what I think that we are today. We are so double-minded. I want it, I don't want it. I want it, I don't want it. You want somebody, and then they want them, and then they want you, and then you don't want them. And then they don't want you, and then you want them, and then they don't want you, and then you want them. And then you want something, and you get a Snickers, and you want a Twix. And then you get a Twix, and then you want a Three Musketeers. You're like, man, just see, you want some funnies, and you want some shit. Those are soft and sweet items, church. Amen. We get double-minded. You know what? I don't want to drive this, I don't want to drive that. I want to work here, I don't want to work there. I want to do this, I want to do that. I want to be married, I want to be single. I want to have kids, I don't want to have kids. I want to be a good dad, I don't want to be a dad. These double-minded. But when you set your mind on something, when you put your mind to it, if the devil can trick your mind, he can trick the rest of your victory, the rest of your scenario, the rest of your life, if he can trick your mind. But when you put your mind to something and say, you know what, I ain't giving up on that man. I ain't giving up on that woman. I ain't giving up on my children. I ain't giving up on my job. I ain't giving up on my health. I ain't giving up on my God. I ain't giving up on my church. I ain't giving up on my family. I ain't giving up on my people, because I set my mind a long time ago that I would fight the good fight. You don't get to choose. Let's see, do I feel like fighting today? It's not an option. The bell rings. The moment your eyes open, the bell rings, and it's time to go to blows. The devil will start fighting you from the moment that alarm goes off. You're ugly. You're terrible. you're worthless. Nobody loves you. You're not getting paid what you're worth. Nobody cares about you. They're overlooking you at your job. They're promoting everybody but you. They're investing into everything but you. Why do you even try? Why do you even go? Just stay there and lay down and give up and let the count come to the final 10 count. And you got to get up and say, no, this is the day the Lord has made.